In this video, I'm going to show you how to replace the trailer wiring harness, and that means the plug, the harness from the plug, and the relay box, as well as the harness that comes with that on this Nissan Pathfinder. Let's get started. To get started, we have to remove this trim piece so that we can remove the plug. And to do that, there are two Phillips head screws that hold this in right at the bottom. So remove both of them. And then at the top, it only has a couple metal clips that hold it in, which can get easily pried out of there. So with these off, you should be able to just remove the trim piece. This plug is mounted on a new trailer hitch, so it's not stuck. A lot of times these do get stuck because the metal here rusts, swells up, and seizes this up. So in that case, you're going to want to spray some rust penetrant. Regardless, the only lock on this is that tab right there, which you can push in, and that should allow you to twist it. Of course, if it's stuck, you can grab it with pliers, work it back and forth, twist it 90 degrees until it unlocks, then you can pull it through. It can't come out all the way, but now you can reach the connector or the lock for the connector on the harness, and you can unplug this. That's the lock up there. Separate these two. We have to unclip the harness off of a retainer that's sitting right on this bracket. If you can reach it, go ahead. I'm going to take this clip off so I can pry the bumper cover out just a little bit. This will give my tool a little bit more space to get in here. And now we can pry this clip right off of here. Okay, that broke, but that's fine because the new harness comes with a new one. So we'll just have to get this out of here. There we go. These two connectors right here are what we need to undo in order to get the rest of this harness out. They are somewhat difficult to get to. I'm using a screwdriver to push on the locking clip, which is on the back side. So on this one, it'll be that right there. Let's do the same to the other one. And I don't usually like to pull down on wires, but in this case, not only is it easier, but it's also being replaced. So as soon as we can unlock that, pull down on the wire, remove the entire harness, inspect the connectors, because a lot of times if you are replacing these harnesses, it's because of corrosion. So in our case, these connectors are good. Up there, I don't see any corrosion, so let's plug in the new harness. When I fish this new one in, I'm going to go the opposite way of when I removed it. And I'm going to make sure that it's facing the right way too. You can put silicone paste on these if you want, although you don't have to. They have a silicone ring on them to make them waterproof. And now you just have to reconnect these. They only go into one plug. Make sure they click. There we go. So both of them clicked. Those are secured. Let's clip in the harness connector now. Now let's resecure this harness. Like I said, it comes with a new retainer, so if you broke your old one, no worries. Clip that in so it doesn't move around. And if you removed this push clip like I did, put it back. If not, don't worry about it. Through the back side of this retainer here, or the bracket, you should see the harness. Now take your plug. It only goes on one way. Push it in until it clicks, and then you're going to have to spin it sideways to line up the two tabs, and then turn it clockwise until it clicks to lock it in. There we go. You'll hear the click, and if you turn it backwards or counterclockwise, you should not be able to remove this. Let's put this trim piece back. Line up all the clips up top. Press them in. There we go. To fully secure it, put in the two screws at the bottom. Make them snug. Now the kit comes with the the relay box actually, with its harness included in the kit. So if you want to replace this, we're going to have to actually access the inside of the trunk. It sits behind this panel here, kind of behind the taillight, and this is where you would want to access it. So unfortunately, you have to take some panels off of here. So I'm going to start with removing this bottom corner piece here so that we can actually pull this side panel away. There are two cargo hooks here. In the middle, you'll have a little flap that you can open up with a pick. Pry that open. You'll see either a you'll see a 10mm headed bolt here. You can also use a Phillips head on it if you want. Remove this. This entire piece will come off. And let's do the same to this one in the back over here. Just like that. Take the bolt out. Remove this. Next, we have to disconnect the fabric that comes off the back of the third row seating onto this trunk piece here. We do have to remove this entire area in order to remove this, So basically, it's all a chain reaction that needs to happen here. Take a pretty strong trim tool here, pop out all these push clips that secure this down. Now let's open this compartment up. We'll leave this open for now. Next, we have to pop off this entire trim piece here. So I'm going to grab a trim tool, stick it down here, pry up. It should only be held in with plastic clips. This right here in the center, we'll have to remove this cross piece so that we can actually remove it through the striker here. Let's continue. Pop this up. With that out of here, inside of this compartment, you'll find 3 10mm bolts. Remove all 3. You can also use a Phillips head for them, but I wouldn't recommend it. A lot of times they're right about this rusty. And now there are 4 push clips that you have to pop out from the front here, or I guess this would be the back of the vehicle. This whole piece will be able to pop out of place now. You can close this door and lift this straight up and out. At this point, there are these 2 push clips that were left here underneath. You can remove this piece now. Now let's remove this piece here. It is held on with 4 10mm bolts. These are 2 of them. The other 2 are on the other side of it. Of course, these are screws that go into plastic. On the inside here, you'll probably need a swivel socket. Be able to pull this bracket right out of there. These are the 2 bolts. I'm going to clean up the threads on them so they can go in a lot easier. It's difficult to reach in there. And this is what we're after right here. So you can press this tab right here, pull it up, and there it is. Let's unplug it and swap it out. Now, if you follow the harness on it, it'll lead you right up here. There are 2 connectors, a white one. You can push that tab, pull that down, and a black one. Push this tab, pull that out, and there it is right here. At this point, you could reuse your old relays. However, the new one comes with all new relays. So let's take this and the new one, stick the relays back on here, make sure they click, as well as this one. And now we'll be able to plug this in. So put it back in here. Don't clip it onto its bracket yet. Plug the 2 connectors in first. Make sure those click. Okay, those are secured on there. And now we'll be able to secure this here and put everything back together. Let's reinstall this bracket. You can just barely stick your hand in here and get these bolts started. I cleaned up the threads on mine so that I could start them a little bit easier. With these started by hand, I'm going to tighten them up sure they're nice and snug. Okay. Don't forget about these two screws over here that finish up securing this bracket on. These are threading into plastic, so make sure you start them by hand. The more threads you cut into those inserts, the weaker they're going to be. And when you tighten them, just make them snug. If you took this off, put it back on. Put this piece back on now. Make sure these two clips line up with their corresponding holes. Once they do, tap this in, make sure it's locked. And now, make sure this piece is back where it's supposed to be here, right over this seal, so that it can seal up and not let water get inside. Now bring this in, slide it down. It should automatically line up pretty much everywhere. If it does, tap it in. If it doesn't, move it around. Perfect. Open it up, and let's secure it with the 3 fasteners that went down here. One down here. One over here. Okay, make sure they're snug. There is a third one, but mine actually broke. Put this back on. Line it up everywhere. Tap it down. Right in the middle here, you had this cover. Don't forget to put this back on, just like that. Close this. Take these push clips with the carpet, snap those back in place. Now let's put these two back on. The bolts usually stay right inside of them, so line these up, snug them up. Close the cap, and do the same to the other one in the back. There you go.
When only the best will do, demand TRQ. The only company that lets you view before you do. TRQ is committed to offering the highest quality aftermarket auto parts that are engineered for peace of mind. Thanks for using and viewing with TRQ.